What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? Let's go ahead and share this. Happy Friday, man. Happy Friday. What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. Today we're going to be speaking with Symphonie, Canadian-based artist, singer, songwriter, worship leader. We're going to be speaking with her today. She just released her debut single titled Trust You. So we're going to be talking to her about that and just kind of getting into everything. So that's what we're going to be doing today. How are you guys doing? Hope you had a great week. Let me turn this down a bit. Yeah, hope you guys had a great week. What's happening? What's happening? As you're coming in, go ahead and share this. Let me do the same as well too. Let's share this to a few folks. Let's get this to a few folks. Alright, let's get this out here. So what's going on, man? How was the week so far? Who we got in here? Yeah, so before we kind of jump into the conversation with Symphonie, a few quick little updates so far. So let me go ahead and jump into that. This is for the New York and surrounding area, so NYC surrounding area. We have the God Girl Expo that's going down tomorrow. So think Circle of Sisters. Gonna be a lot of shopping, master classes. A lot of that is going down in Brooklyn tomorrow. Check out God Girl on Instagram. You guys gonna be able to see that. Also, too, from a Sunday, I will be with DJ Tone in Brooklyn for his first Sunday brunch. So that's going down. I'm going to be there with him. So again, if you're in the Brooklyn area, definitely come out and let's have some fun on Sunday. I know Bishop Jakes is going to be in the city as well, promoting his new book. So we're going to be at that event on Tuesday evening. He's going to be promoting his new book. And then again, you know, it's New Music Friday. Lots of new music out there. I know Kirk released his new single, All Things. So he has that going. Also, Jennifer Lewin released her music as well. Recover, I know, which is a pretty good one here too. Pastor Shirley Caesar. It's been about 70 years since she have released a new song. So 70 years. She just now she's gonna be releasing a new single after 7 years. You can go ahead and pre-order that single starting today. So yeah, that's pretty, you know, all of glory. So that's what's happening. But again, we're gonna be posting about all of this, so check out the page, y'all. We dropped some new merch as well. Y'all make sure you go ahead, hit the link in our bio. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Support. But again, without further ado, we're gonna bring in Symphonie. So let me go ahead and tee her up and bring her on in here.
Hello.
Hello. What's happening?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Thank you. Can I see you well? Okay, it cleared up. There we go.
Okay, good.
Yes. We want to make sure, we don't have anything blurry and fuzzy, we want you to come through. So we want to make sure.
We need that good Wi-Fi.
Exactly. We ain't gonna have you looking like that out here in these streets, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
So what's happening, man? I mean, happy Friday. It's an exciting time. You got the new single out. The new single Trust You out. I know it must have been an exciting time just, putting it together, planning, doing all that. So we want to kind of have the conversation, get into all of that. But before that, before we even jump into the single or anything about that, just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, like kind of how did you decide to go down this path of gospel music? I know it's not for the riches and the fame and all of that.
No.
But tell us, how did you decide to go down this path?
Yeah, so many know that I am a PK. So my dad was actually a worship leader before he started being a pastor, and they say that I've been singing since I was little. I love music. I love singing, and I grew my relationship with Christ personally around the age of 19 years old, and that's when I really started to focus on leading worship, and as well as learning the art of worship and what it truly is. And from there, music became everything. How did I start with the single? I have no idea, because if it was up to me, I would have just been singing every Sunday and call it a day. But you know, God has other plans, and he said you can't sit on this book of songs for long. So that's when Trust You decided to come out.
You know, and that's funny you mentioned that, you know, because a lot of PKs, you know, my wife's a PK. A lot of PK typically, you know, they tend to shy away. I think maybe because they've been in church all their lives and they're kind of aware of the responsibility and everything that is surrounding that. They're usually the last ones to want to volunteer to say, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to release music." They prefer to just
Yeah.
support the church, worship, support everything from the background side. Totally know where you're coming from when you just said, you know, you started the process, you're just writing, having, you know, books upon books of just, you know, writing music, but just deciding whether or not. So, you know, so you partnering then, you know, with Christ, partnering then, you know, with your
Yeah.
team and trusting that process that ended up birthing, you know, birthing Trust You. But even before that, you know, I know at first, I think when I first saw you online a while back now, I think you know, you're a graphic designer as well too, right? You do a lot in that area as well, right?
Yeah, I'm a web designer and a marketing consultant.
Web design and marketing consultant. Yeah, I think that's the first time you kind of popped up on my radar. I think we spoke a little bit when you were, you know, when you were rolling out content on that, and I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is really nice. We should definitely catch up and figure. And that must have been a few years back.
Yeah.
So, you know, here we are now.
A whole different plan.
Exactly. Now, just, you know, kind of talking about, you know, serving in your local church, you know, that responsibility, being a PK, you know, that responsibility of serving in your local church and just seeing the reward from that overall, like, what is that feeling like for you, you know, knowing that you're a part of that, you're a part of that mission, you know, and serving within your local church?
Honestly, it's an amazing feeling. I've had the opportunity of helping build so many ministries and helping being on the team as far as launching and things like such. So I tell people that I have a natural builder's anointing. I like going into places and helping and seeing what I can do to help in any way. So I think that by being able to help ministries, whether it's by worship, whether it's by the business side, social media, graphics, whatever it is, it really helps push them further and helps push the reach of the gospel even out more into the world. So that's my biggest part of the impact, is being able to, we're supposed to reach as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So in whatever way I can do so, whether it's by worship, whether it's by leading people in worship, or it's behind the scenes of helping with launches and things like such, that's really my heart in it.
And you know, I'm glad you mentioned, you know, in terms of just being a builder, because you know, that's one thing I love about, you know, being in the church. There's different ways in serving, there's different, you know, possibilities, but building is what we are all called to do in one way, one shape or another. We're all called to grow, and we're all called to build the kingdom, and we need skilled people in the kingdom, right? So there's individuals that are singing, there's musicians, there's all of that, but we also need strategists in the background. We need people that can look at something and say, hey, that Sunday flyer is not it. That flyer is just looking, it's looking kind of crazy. It's looking kind of crazy. Let's adjust that. Let me take a second look at that one. So, you know, I love that. Someone just says builder's anointing. Yeah, I think that's a great way of framing that. So it's good to see that for sure. And I know as part of this process, when you released the new single that we're going to be getting into, you also teamed up with Psalmist Records.
Yeah.
So how has that experience been so far, since kind of coming on board and working with that and being a part of that team?
Honestly, Psalmist Records is one of my biggest blessings of 2022. It came in a season where I was really figuring out what I was supposed to do next. And I remember God spoke to me and said, I'm calling you to order. And I thought it was something completely different. He said, and I now understand that he was really calling me into a place of identity and order in that area. And that's when Psalmist Records came along. And I've known Daniel for a while now. Shout out to Daniel Ojo. And he's honestly just a nice person. He's just nice. And he was helping me before I even joined Psalmist Records. So when the opportunity came up, I was just like, absolutely, because you've already been advising me and helping me in many ways. So when Psalmist Records came around and we started to get to work, there was no rush in the music or anything like that. But one thing about the team is when you're ready, they're 100% ready. It's very like, we got it, it's done. So it was easy to work with them, and it's been such a blessing. It's good to have people in the gospel industry that actually help you and teach you about other things that you might not know as an artist at all. So I love my Psalmist Record family.
Love it, love it. No, Daniel, and I can say that too. Again, Daniel and I have collaborated on several different things before, and it's one thing I always said to him is that he just has a servant heart. He has a servant heart, and he's just, he's one of those persons that you can count on. If he's going to give you a yes, that yes is going to be a yes. He's not going to give you a yes and then leave you hanging in there. Sometimes he would say, "Hey, give me 4 days," and then before I know it, he comes back to me in 2 hours. Here it is. Oh, I think we're ready to roll. I'm like, dude, you said 4 days, but I'm not even gonna hold you on that. But he's a consistent person, so for sure, definitely. So seeing some love here. What we say here, that's one of the Psalmist Records. Yeah, Psalmist Records is a real gift. Amazing, amazing. Now, tell us about the recording process. For this new single, Trust You, because I'm assuming you already wrote the song, or did you go into the studio and say, hey, I know I need to release something, I'm gonna write it now? Like, what was the process like, just fleshing this out and recording it?
So I was working on music for about, I want to say, a year and a half, and it was like I had a bunch of worship songs. When you're a worshiper, you just have a lot of worship songs. And I just looked through the list and I was like, no, we need a praise song. I said, God, I need a praise song. I need a praise song. And that's when he gave me, I Call You Jireh. It just started with just the chorus. And he said, okay, now it's time to write the rest of the song. And that's when the rest of the song came along. So I had the song prior to going into the studio. And we reached out to Hills Play Productions, shameless plug. And Hills Play was amazing. He understood the assignment very quickly. Understood it very quickly. So before we knew it, it was time to get the ball rolling. I had Michael Manhurst, who vocally produced it. So he was the one that came up with all the arrangements. One thing about me is I'm really big on having a team, because I know I don't know everything. I just want to get to the studio and sing my part and dip, So they went ahead and did so much amazing work, and we went in the studio and recorded.
And I'm glad that you mentioned in terms of, you touched on a few things. One of them being having a team around you, right? Because I'm familiar with Michael and some of his stuff that he's released as well too. And I think just having those individuals that can help with various components just to bring something forward, it's definitely what you need. And also being honest with yourself to say, hey, I think I'm going to shine more in this particular area. Let me kind of, bring in the team and be able to do that, instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to do it all, but you're not doing it at the level that you're called to do it at. So that's good. as a, as an independent artist, as a new artist, you just released your debut single.
Mhm.
What are some of the, I guess, what are some of the immediate challenges, but also what were some things that you had to get out of your own head with just releasing that first single? Because I talk to many people that they've been singing in their church, they're amazing singers,
Yeah.
they're amazing writer, but they're just so nervous and so scared to release
Mhm.
that first track. Like, what did you have to say to yourself, and what were some things you had to kind of get out of your own head with?
Oh man. So one thing I learned about releasing is that it's very vulnerable because you're putting out the words that God gave you for yourself, which is not for you, because if
Mm-hmm.
He told you to write it down, it's for other people. But you're putting down those words and you have to now share it to the entire world and all the people that are going to listen to it. So it was a very vulnerable process. But I think my biggest challenge was mainly the fact that most people know me as Symphonie the worshiper. So they expected that I'm gonna come out with something real swell and real worship, and God was like, no, this is a single. I remember when Daniel heard it and he was like, I think that's your debut single, this is the one. And I was already working on something else, but it just felt like the right time to do it. And as we went through the journey of recording and working on the song and doing everything, I realized that the song was honestly my life. And because I'm telling in the song, like, I'm choosing to trust you, God. I'm choosing to have faith in you. I call you Jireh. I call you Nisi. So I have to trust you no matter what comes my way. So in that time period, it was really my own testimony that I was singing by the time we got to the studio. And even afterwards, during the mixing process, I would be listening to the song and I'll be like, this song is checking me every 5 seconds. Every
Wow.
time I feel discouraged, it was checking me. It was getting me together, saying, no, you just said no matter what comes your way, you choose to trust him. So it was honestly, it was vulnerable, but it was a really good process and a challenging process at the same time. But I believe that challenges can push you to do better. And I don't think that if it wasn't challenging or if it was super easy, that it would have been the result that it is today.
And you're mentioning it was checking you every 5 seconds, and I think that's a good thing, right? Because if the song, as you're listening to it, is having an impact on you, and you're
Mhm.
knowing that, then definitely something that others may be going through, others that need that encouragement, that need, to reference, Christ or know him through as those names, right? Like, who is Jireh,
Mhm.
who is Nisi, like just kind of getting into what that means and what that means in different seasons in our life. Because like you said, in one season, I'm looking for a provider. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lord, how my pockets is set up right now.
Yeah.
Like, things is looking kind of funny. Let's figure this
Mhm.
out together, right? And then another times, you're definitely in a different phase, but you may be done on something else. So I think definitely being
Right.
able to see that, to understand that, to just make that a part of you, make that a part of your worship. And for me, I'm even part of your worship, or a part of
Mhm.
your praise cycle, because I love to know
Yeah.
that you can put something on, and you may not know all the words right away, but there's just something that can jump out of you, and you're like, oh, okay, that's, yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's it. Bring it back again on that part. But there's different components of that song that really speaks to you, that really touched you.
Oh.
But what were you feeling in that moment when you were like, hey, once I've released this song, out of everything else, I want people to take this away from it. Like, what were some of those expectations that you hope people can get from this?
I think the biggest one is we have all gone through challenging seasons, and I really wanted to remind people who God is. I said this last time even on Instagram, like, when we name God and we say who he is over and over again, it's hard for us to be so discouraged by what we're facing. So I really wanted people to be able to hear it and instantly not only like feel a vibe, because the music is great, but
Yeah.
it's mainly about how are you reminded again that this is who your God is? This is what he does. It's in his name. It's in his origin. So because of that, we're going to choose to trust him.
And you also said, you said something talking about trust. You said something on Instagram recently, and I was trying to remember it exactly. But you said, something having to do with patience, right? Like God's plan is eternal, while
Ooh,
man's plan is temporary,
yeah.
but it'll be worth the wait. So just expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I've had many situations where I can try to chase man's plan. And, a lot of times man's plan is everything that's around you. So you're just going to go and follow that, or it feels right in that moment. So you just go after it and you follow it. And it gives you a temporary satisfaction. But I truly believe that God's plan is always eternal. It's one of those, it's something that's going to bless generations after generations, even after you. So even though it might not feel like it, even though it might take a long time, it's better to just trust him in that moment, because if you trust him, then you'll be able to see that his plan is actually eternal. The results of it are eternal. It's the same with when I started working on music a year and a half ago. Before I was even with Psalmist Records, I worked and I worked and I worked, and it just wasn't out there. And I thank God that he made me pause and wait and take a break and take a sabbatical and pray and spend time with him, because then when Psalmist Records came around, it was easier for me to now do music. I was able to just say, okay, I'm just handing this over to my team and I'm just doing what I need to do as an artist. So it showed, even in that season, it showed me that I would rather wait a long time than to settle for something that is not God's plan.
Wow. I would rather wait a long time than to settle for something that is not God's plan. That's wow. That's definitely something to settle with, because sometimes we want it and we want it now. I'm not gonna say sometimes. I'm gonna say all the time. I'm gonna say all the time. Not even sometimes.
The fast food generation. We want it now.
Yeah, we want it and we want it now. So I think definitely, overall, just being able to sit in that. And you mentioned too, you were in the Word, right? You were reading, you were ministering to yourself, you were just in the Word while you were going through that sabbatical and that waiting season as well too. So even when it comes to writing and it comes to ministry, like talk a little bit, as a worship leader too, how important is it to be grounded and rooted in the Word?
Oh, it's super important. I just got out of a 3-month sabbatical, and it was in January that I was ministering somewhere. And when you're ministering as a worshiper and I'm one of those people that I want to feel what I feel in my secret place with God. So I was ministering and ministering and ministering, and I just felt like I'm supposed to go somewhere, but I can't reach it. And I remember coming back and feeling, and everybody will be in your face like, you did so great. That was so powerful. But you just feel like, no, we were supposed to go deeper, y'all, but I couldn't get there. So I sat down, and God told me to sit down, and he had also 2 other people confirm it for me and say, you were tired up there. It's time for you to take a break. It's time for you to sit down. And it wasn't that I was tired physically. It was just that spiritually, it was already a tough year. But then also the fact that we move so much in ministry, and we don't take time to actually be with our Father, and we stay stagnant in our Christian relationship. And God had to sit me down and say, I need you to get close to me. If you want to know where you can really go and how deep you can get, then you have to take the time to get to know me, get to know the intimacy, so you can recognize it. A lot of people say you can't go somewhere if you've never been there. And I think that it really matters in worship, with worship leaders, ministers. We can't go somewhere we've never been. We can't speak on something we've never even read. So a lot of times we're saying the same things up there on stage, just like Bible stories that we've heard since we were children.
Yeah.
But we have to get to a point where we are now focused on, okay, this is what I know God for myself to be. And because of this, I can minister in this way. So taking that time of sabbatical and just sitting and being with him and resting and continuing to have that longing to grow our relationship even more, it has really taught me how to truly be a worshiper. And I feel like it's even being back in ministry again and ministering even more in the city, I felt a shift. And I know it's everywhere, but now I feel it personally for myself. And when I go there, it's not, I don't have to strive to get in his presence because I live there. And I think that as worshipers, we should all just live there to a point. We don't have to push so hard. Yes, there's services where, you know, it takes a while to get there. But if you live there, you just get on stage and you just let God do whatever he wants to do.
Live there. You said a lot. Someone else just says preach. So I said, preach it, girl. Come on, y'all. I'm going to have her, you know, pin her cash app. Y'all got to start sending that offering in a few minutes. You know, we're going to need to bring on Daniel to start playing some music, you know, and yeah, bring on the offering time. Oh, man. Michael says she's on a mission if you aren't experienced from, if you ain't experienced her ministry. No, and I like that, you know, being in his presence, always being there, because I watch that again. My wife's a worship leader at our church that we serve at, and you know, it can be hours that, you know, it can be Saturday, and like we know typically in the house when that time is coming, because she's going to be playing music, she's going to be rehearsing, she's going to be doing this, she's reading. So typically there's a time when it comes on that Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon, like the whole family is just like, all right, you know, it's coming, but we've just expected. But it's one of those things that you have to do. You can't just pop out of bed on Sunday and like, oh man, what am I doing today, right? Because at that point you're all flustered.
Yeah, it's very true. Hell is not scared of a Sunday worshiper. At the end of the day, it's Monday through Sunday, every day of the week, 24/7.
I love that. In some of your inspiration, I mean, being a worshiper, who are some, you know, inspirations that you've drawn from, whether it's musically, whether it's, you know, scripturally, like who is some inspiration that keeps you, you know, going when you're getting into one of those places where you feel like you also need to be ministered to in song?
So, inspirations musically, I would say Psalmist Records is probably one of my favorite worshipers ever. I feel like she's one of those people that lives in his presence. She probably has tea with God. And so there's just something there. So a lot of times I just allow myself to, if I'm just feeling overwhelmed, or if there's just too much going on, I just allow myself to just stay in his presence and listen to her. Another one is I've recently found my love for Dunson and Victoria Orenz. I absolutely love playing them during my secret time. So who else? Jennifer Lewin. Those are just like my go-to. So another big inspiration for me, and he's going to make fun of me for saying this, but also my father. He's taught me everything that I know when it comes to worship. And because of what he taught me, because of what I saw when he would be ministering, and when he would always sing before he preaches. And sometimes he would just end up, we're just worshiping the whole time. And because of that, and seeing him do that, it really inspired me to be the worshiper that I am today. So I'll always have to shout out my dad, because I am who I am because of him.
Oh, look at that. Daddy's girl. I love it. Oh, that was beautiful. That's beautiful and wholesome. I love that. You know, so we, you know, again, for anyone that just popped in, people are coming in and out, we're speaking with Symphonie, Canadian-based worshiper, singer, songwriter, just released her new single. It's been in what, 2 weeks now? Give or take, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Just crossed the 2 weeks mark for our new single, trust you. If you guys have not listened to it, you've not heard it, definitely check the link in her bio. First, download it. I encourage everyone, artists put a lot of work, a lot of time between studio time, between writing, between every single thing. Y'all go ahead and purchase it first. Then you can stream it. We'll get to those streaming numbers, but y'all go ahead and purchase it first. All right. Just get a small latte next time you go somewhere. Instead of getting that grande or that get a tall and take that extra buck and go ahead and buy it. All right. Oh, but no, definitely, man. I love your spirit, man. I'm gonna also interject with that. Like, everything I've seen just with online, whether you're going live or you're producing stuff, you're engaging, there's something about you that just says Christ. Again, there's people that are great performers, that they're different ways that they can go about stuff, but when you sense someone and they kind of make an impression, again, even though it's the first time we're speaking, but just looking from afar, there's something that says Christ. There's something that says people, like lover of people, just love, being able to just showcase happiness regardless of what's happening in and around you. And I think that's necessary, because sometimes you never know what someone may be going through or what someone may be dealing with or whatnot, but just you showing up as yourself and you're doing what you're called to do, you're definitely able to, to do a whole lot more for someone, even non-verbally. So definitely wanted to point that out. Art Soul Radio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's my girl, Art Soul Radio. Hey, what's up, y'all? How are you doing? The song is a real vibe. Yeah, definitely. I think you got a lot of supporters for sure. Oh, you got to get it. That's funny. But no, I mean, before we even continue on, I'm not going to put any pressure on you to sing anything. I'm not one of those persons that says, "Hey, sing." But before we get to the end of the interview, if you got a 30 seconds for us, you want to do a little something, you can. No pressure. No pressure, but one other thing I wanted to have you touch on a little bit too is you have your your Freedom Daughters, Freedom Daughters Ministry. Yes. So touch a little bit about that. Like, tell us what is Freedom Daughters, and what does that really mean to you?
Yes, so Freedom Daughters is a ministry that we just launched this year, but God has grown us in a crazy way. I'm so surprised at what is going on with it. But for many people who don't know who I am today and my bright spirit, and that person was not me about like 7-10 years ago. I went through a long series of just anger issues and depression and insecurity. And because of that, I was so distant from God. And I got to a place where at 19 years old, I said, God, it's either we end this now, like this whole life thing is done, or you go ahead and fix me. And in that moment, I remember God, I felt his arms literally wrap me, and he said, I'm here, I'm with you. And from that day on, my life changed. And of course, we put in the work to heal and we put in the work to be delivered. But it was one of those things where I personally feel like God instantly freed me in that moment. So because he instantly freed me in that moment, years later, as I'm praying, I'm telling God, thank you for freeing me. And that's something that I always start my prayers with, because I'm not quick to forget what God has done. So I'm really quick to always say, thank you, thank you, thank you for freeing me. Thank you for delivering me. Thank you for setting me free from all those bondages. And he said to me in that moment, thank you for thanking me, but now it's time to let the other sisters be free. There are so many other women out there who are struggling with the same things you struggle with, and even worse. And now it's time for them to be free. And he gave me the name Freedom Daughters. And from that day, I said, I don't want to do it. I said, no, thank you. And later on, God finally pushed me to do it. And we started planning for Freedom Daughters. It's a ministry dedicated to young women and women of all ages. Honestly, at this point, we've stretched the mark for everyone, but just to allow women to know that you can be free, and God loves his daughters. And because of that, he will be able to forgive you for everything and allow you to come back in. And that's really the premise of Freedom Daughters. We had our conference in January, and it was such a phenomenal experience. It was a healing experience. And every month we do prayer calls. We built a community with it. And I'm excited for what God is doing about it, because I believe that he looks out for his daughters. He looks out for his sons too, but he looks out for his daughters because there's so much purpose in women. And a lot of this generation has lost their identity and their purpose. And our premise is just to really remind us that we are his daughters. We are royalty, and there's so much that we can do. And because of that, God is setting us free.
Wow. Man, I mean, that's something to feel that yourself, to experience that. And again, thank you for, just being transparent and even talking about that, because it's interesting. I'm telling you what I'm seeing now, and you're saying you were not that person, you were not there. So, God can totally transform, any situation and anything like that. And, the fact that you mentioned also, doing the work, and I don't want to rush past that as well. Like, what are some, and again, definitely, and I'll tag, with you guys, the Freedom Daughters, for anyone that wants to tap in. You mentioned the prayer call. You mentioned several things in between that I think, individuals definitely, need to tap into. But in terms of doing the work, like, what were some work outside of, everything else you mentioned that you had to do and still continue to do, just to, be and live in that place of freedom?
Absolutely. And I love that you asked me that, because I am a big advocate on Christians going to therapy. I'm super big on it. I think that being able to go to therapy and figure out what the issues were, why they happened, and heal from it, it helped a lot. And I believe in having Christian therapists, because we can't go to someone that can't relate to us.
Yeah.
So I did the work by going to therapy for about a year and a half. No, almost 2 years, actually, two years. And in that time also, I was really big on fasting. My family ended up doing something that ended up blessing all of us, actually, by fasting at the end of every month. We'd all fast as a family on the last week. And that really pushed me to have an even deeper relationship with God. Another part of it, prayer, reading his word, because if we don't read the word, we really don't understand who God is. And I think the biggest thing for me was really understanding that, yes, God is, how do I say it? God is sovereign and God is God, but God is my father. And because of that, I can be completely transparent with him. And I think that a lot of people deal with a lot of obstacles in church and deal with not being able to heal completely because we're not transparent with God. We put up this mask. We go to his presence. We go to his church with this mask on. And I got to a place where I had to be transparent and real with God. I had to say, listen, sometimes I talk to him like he's my homie, like, listen, sir, what is going on over here? We need to fix this up. Like, I am not feeling it today. I'm just going to be honest with you. And when I started having a real relationship with God, it really opened things up for me. So I would say, build your relationship with God, build an intimate relationship with God. I always relate it to the same way if I'm with a partner, whether it's a friendship or whether it's a relationship. If I'm with that partner, I would want them to talk to me every day, so I can't keep ignoring God. So building that relationship, that intimate relationship, going to therapy, seeking the help from a Christian therapist, not just your pastors, but a Christian therapist as well. And also surrounding myself with a community that was really big. God sent some amazing people into my life in the time where I needed them the most, and they didn't even realize it. But having that community and being able to be transparent, having people that could pray over me, it helped so much.
Wow. Man, I'm glad you said that too, because that's something, even coming from a Caribbean background, when it comes to therapy,
It's
when it comes to
taboo.
certain stuff, like it's very taboo. As
Mm-hmm.
as a black man, as a man of color, a lot of times you're just told, hey, shoulder it, keep going, keep pushing, keep moving forward. But I've also came to that place recently as well, that I started looking for myself. I haven't seen a therapist as yet, but I have started the work of looking
Mm-hmm.
for one. And I tell anyone, looking for a therapist is
Okay.
almost like you're dating for the first time. I'm not trying to find a match and going through looking
You
and
gotta
all that,
find a match.
but I started that process. I committed to it. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna find that, and I started to go through that process. So definitely, I appreciate you sharing that, and you've given me a whole lot more insight, even beyond that, just within that short commentary for sure. And one thing I
Yeah.
was gonna ask as well too is that, do you have you mentioned freedom, and you were talking, freedom daughter, and the like scripturally and your commentary and everything else, is there like a devotional out there, what is a 30-day, what is something with scriptures and your commentary you're on it? Because if there's not, I think you need to do it, because as you're talking about it, I'm thinking a lot of people sometimes want to read the Bible, but they're
Mm-hmm.
really not sure what to read or where to
Yeah.
go to when it comes to that, and they don't like just picking up and flipping the pages and all that. So if that's not out there, I'm just saying, that should be somewhere, because you speak well, you have great commentary.
Thank
So
you.
being able to put that with your scriptures and everything else in there, someone's
You're
gonna get
moving
that,
in
and
the
someone's gonna
prophetic.
need
You're
that.
moving in the
Someone's
prophetic.
gonna need that, and I'm gonna need to put that in my link tree to reference people. So let me know when it happens so I can update my link tree. That's
I
all.
will
That's all I'm gonna
definitely
say.
let you know when it happens. You will know
That's
for
all.
sure.
That's all I'm gonna. Someone is giving you the eye as well.
Oh my
Who's that?
gosh.
Naomi's giving you the eye. Freedom daughter. Listen, man. Listen. But no, I appreciate you just coming on, speaking with us, being transparent, just being you and sharing that light that
Mhm.
God has placed within you with everyone. The new single, Trust You. We love the new single. We have it on our playlist. It's something that we definitely, plan to just, going back to and listening to over and over, because again, going through those various seasons, we all need to trust Him,
Mhm.
and we all need to continue to dive, deeper into that. And now that you've released this first single, the single's gonna breathe, the single's gonna do what it needs to do. But I know, as you've gotten that first one out, I know you got all the stuff that you're writing, that you're working on. So what you got for us? Spill the tea a little bit. Let us know
Spill the
what's going on.
tea.
What's going on?
No, I can say that we are working on another single coming out, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorites. I love Trust You, but they finally let me do a good old worship song, and I'm super excited for it. So
Mm.
I'm pretty sure many people have actually heard it because it's all over my page, and I sing it all the time now. But it's coming. It's coming soon.
Okay, listen, y'all. It's coming soon. You heard it. I'm not gonna say you heard it here first, but you heard it. It's it's coming soon. What's that? Latin Mama says, literally, when I started reading the Bible, I started from the first page, which to me was confusing. Yeah, I think a lot of times, just having context, yes, when you're reading the Bible and you're praying for discernment and so forth, but yeah, I think if you're starting at Genesis and you're going through, this person begot this person, that person begot.
Yeah.
By the time you got to like the 50th begot, you're like,
What
hold up,
is going
what
on?
what's happening? But definitely having context, and that's why I mentioned that, because I know during that season, as you continue to revise what you're doing, even with with the Freedom Daughters ministry, I know there is a key set of scriptures that you go to. There's stuff that you guys have spoken, that you've talked about, and there's really structure around commentary and revelation that you've been given during that period, and just in life and all of that. So I think something like that would be spot on for someone to just go to that, just to navigate through what's happening.
Absolutely. You
I got one
are
more
prophetic.
question. I got one more question here for you. Now, leave us with a message of hope, for someone that is going through a difficult season. I just need to be reminded to trust in God. But what is that? Leave us with some sort of message, whether that person can be an artist releasing their first single and there just was in their head for a while, or someone that was even in ministry like yourself, but felt that season when they just needed to take a step back and just, wait on him and just kind of process, however way you feel led, but just leave us with a message of hope for someone.
Yeah, I think that the biggest reminder that I can do is remind people that you have a purpose and you have a strong identity. And a lot of times when we get discouraged and when we get depressed and when we get this feeling of being overwhelmed, we forget who we are. It's easy to forget who we are because of social media, because of the world and everybody telling us who we are. But I want you to take the time to be intentional and find out who you are in Christ. Because once you do, your whole life will change. I'm a living testimony of it. I walked in insecurity, anger. I walked in so much sin and just thinking wrong and depressed. And when I got to a place where I said, God, I can't continue to do this. I know who you are, but I don't know who I am. And you call me yours. So because of that, it's now time for me to step into my identity. When I took the time to be intentional and get to know him, I really understood my identity. I understood that there's no condemnation to thee that are in Christ Jesus. And because of that, I chose to be free. I was set free, but there's a period where you finally have to choose to be free. And in order to trust God, you have to finally come to a place of trusting yourself. I believe that the biggest mistake we make is saying, God, I have faith in you. God, I trust you. I know you can do it. I know you can make, but you forget that God is going to use you to do it. So we have to get to a place where we trust ourselves and we trust that we can make it through what we're going through. There is so many things that you've went through and you've made it out of because God's hand is all over your life. Yes, he protected you, he guided you, but know your strength as well. So in order for us to trust God, we have to learn to trust ourselves. And then when we finally trust ourselves, we now get to a place where we can trust God fully by having faith in him, by believing in his word, by knowing who he is, and just by seeing how he's already brought us out. If he's done it before, why would he lead you astray? Why would he just leave you in the dust like that? He's going to bring you out of it. There's more for you. There are great things planned for you, and God is not going to leave you. Just be intentional in this season. Take the time to get to know him. Take the time to focus on him. Take the time to do whatever it takes to say, God, no matter what comes my way, I'll still trust you. It's hard, but I'll still trust you.
Wow. That's it, guys. That's, I have nothing else to add to that. I'll still trust you. Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. One other comment here. Latin Mama 24 said, God knew I needed to be on this live, and here I am. Thank you. God knew I needed this, and here I am on this live. So definitely, she's feeling blessed to know that, something was said that, that you said that she needed to hear right now. So again, thank you for just going in that direction as well too. So y'all, for anyone else that's going to be going back and listening to this, a lot was said in between here, and also to the main focus is on Christ, and it's on the new single that was just released about 2 weeks now, give or take. Trust You. Y'all go ahead, download it, share it, send it to someone, play it for your neighbor. If you your neighbor having problems, just play it for your neighbor. Go outside and just, just turn it up, and
Mhm.
just whatever whatever you got to do it.
It's
Play
warm
for your
outside.
kids.
Go ahead and put the windows down. Blast
Exactly.
it out.
Drive through your neighborhood and just blast it out. Do whatever you got to do. But thank you so much, Symphony, for hopping on, for talking to us tonight. We love what you're doing. Continue to do it. Continue to be a light for this generation and for everything else. Shout out to Danielle, Psalmist Records, for everyone that
Yes.
joined in the live tonight. The comments they kept going. I tried to read as much as I can, y'all. If I didn't get to read your comments, my mistake. Someone else, Naomi, woo, you got me in tears. Wow. Sing for us, sis. Someone said, I was about to let her off the hook. Yeah,
I was so close.
I was about to let her off the hook, but your
Close.
own peeps said, sing for us. We need a song. So, Derek Miguel also said, we need a song. You got a song. So I'm gonna leave it up to you. No pressure, but you want to sing a little something for us
Hey,
before?
so
Go right ahead.
I'm here with gospel music buzz. I might as well just give you a small snippet of the new single coming soon. So I hear the angels crying out, holy, holy are you, Lord. The earth's responding to you now. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I can feel you now. You're here with us. Yes, Lord. You are here. You are here. So we reverence you. We reverence you. You are here. You are here. So we reverence you. We reverence you. Oh Lord, you are here with us. Yeah, you are here. You are here. So we reverence you. We reverence you.
My goodness. Wow. 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 Wow.
Thank you.
Man, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. That was anointed. Wow. That's, man. All right. Y'all ain't gonna have me up on this slide getting emotional. Do a little bit of stretch. Do a little stretch right now. Whew. Wow. Man. Wow. That was wow. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Oh man. All right. So we are at the end here, y'all. Thank you. Not gonna have me all messed up on this live right now. I'm gonna shake this off. You're not gonna have me messed up on this live, but he is indeed. Thank you so much for being led in that direction. Y'all go ahead, check out Trust You. It's available everywhere right now. Y'all follow. Go ahead and give us your social. Y'all follow this woman of God. Go ahead and give us your social.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at I am Symphonie Poaty, Poaty, and my Facebook is also Symphonie Music, YouTube Symphonie Poaty-Junior, and what other socials do I have? I think that's all the socials, and you can always subscribe to my website, www.symphoniemusic.com, to stay updated on everything that is going to be happening. But thank you so much for having me on. It's honestly an honor.
Awesome. No, definitely. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for for saying. I was about to let you slide, but you know, they brought you back in. Yes,
They
yes.
be your own
Freedom.
people.
Absolutely, yes. I just tagged both of them as well as Freedom Daughters
Mhm.
underscore. So
Yes.
that is there as well. Y'all go ahead, follow, follow, follow. You're doing some amazing things there
Thank
for
you.
Christ. Y'all go ahead, follow her, support her, continue to pray for her, pray for her ministry, lift her ministry up because again, you know, once you're on the front line and you're doing what you're doing for Christ, you know, things will
Mhm.
come, things will arise. So you guys continue to cover her and, you
Yes.
know, just ensure that she's able to do what she's called to do. Again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Yep. Have yourself
Thank
a
you.
wonderful
Thank you
weekend.
for having
Not
me.
a problem. Take it easy.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. Go ahead. It's still pinned there. Y'all go ahead and follow her, follow Freedom Daughters. Get yourself the new single that is out right now, and especially whenever that new one drops, because man, whew, that would shift the atmosphere for sure. And the new single right now is just an amazing praise single. You want to go ahead and get that as well, and just follow her and everything else that she's doing right now. And we will also pin this and share this live as well. Again, I'm Sherwin with Gospel Music Buzz behind the music. And thank you guys for hanging with us. Have yourself a great evening.